With the right timing and smart decisions, companies can rise fast and stay on the top. But sometimes, all it takes is one bad review to start a collapse. My name's Ryan, and today we're talking about how YouTuber Marques Brownlee collapsed an $8 billion company with a single YouTube video. Better known as MKBHD, Marques is one of the biggest and most influential tech reviewers on YouTube, with over 20 million subscribers amassing over 5 billion views. His influence has earned him one-on-one conversations with some of the biggest names in tech, like Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, Microsoft founder and CEO Bill Gates, and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. MKBHD is widely respected for his ability to deliver clear, comprehensive, and accessible reviews of complex technology that in 2013, when he was still 20 years old, former Google senior VP Vic Gundotra called him the best technology reviewer on the planet. In the years that followed, his recognition only continued to grow. In 2018, he was named Creator of the Decade at the 10th Annual Shorty Awards. Then in 2021 and again in 2025, he appeared on Forbes' 30 Under 30 list and was ranked number 17 among top creators. While MKBHD built his career reviewing electronics and consumer gadgets, his content eventually expanded into the automotive space. In 2022, he launched his car-focused channel Autofocus.
Welcome to the new Autofocus YouTube channel. Spin-off, separate, brand new YouTube channel just for my thoughts on cars, which I have a lot of, and there's all kinds of things that I want to talk about in the car world that aren't really fit for a full MKBHD video. So I'm gonna make them here.
Beginning with a review of the Rivian R1T. Since then, he has published over 120 car reviews, establishing himself as a credible and influential car reviewer, with one of his most popular videos on the channel being his Tesla Cybertruck review.
All right, there's been a lot of weird cars to come out in the past couple weeks, months, years, decades, but this one might be the weirdest one of them all, and I don't think it's particularly close. This thing here, this has come out for 2024 and it's called the Tesla Cybertruck,
which amassed over 5 million views and was praised for being both detailed and easy to understand. Today, MKBHD is widely regarded as a trustworthy authority in both consumer technology and modern vehicles. For consumers, his reviews serve as a guide to spending wisely. For companies, however, he can be a threat, especially when a product fails to live up to its promises, as was the case with the Fisker Ocean. Fisker Ocean was Fisker's first all-electric SUV, promoted as a rival to Tesla. Fisker Inc. was an American car company founded in 2016 by automotive designer Henrik Fisker as a successor to Fisker Automotive, which he started in 2007. As a promising electric vehicle startup, Fisker gained strong investor confidence early on that in 2022, its shares traded as high as $28 per share, valuing the company at nearly $8 billion, giving Fisker a large budget leading up to the launch of the Fisker Ocean in 2023. The Fisker Ocean was advertised as a sustainability-focused vehicle built with 100% recycled materials. It also featured a solar roof that was said to extend the car's range by up to 2,000 extra miles per year and performance claims of 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. Because of its bold design and ambitious promises, the Fisker Ocean attracted 65,000 reservations by 2023, showing strong demand and the potential for long-term profits. Priced at $75,000, it was a car many hoped would live up to the hype, but in reality, it turned out very differently. Naturally, MKBHD set out to review the product and see what all the hype was about. He reached out to Fisker to request a car for review, but surprisingly, Fisker declined.
And they didn't want us to review this one because there's a really big software update, a big 2.0 update coming to this car.
In hindsight, it seems Fisker may have already known how the review could turn out and only wanted him to review the car after updates were made. But true to his honest style, MKBHD did not give them any special treatment. Instead, he borrowed someone else's Fisker Ocean and tested it for a full week before reviewing it. After all, this was the version already on the market, so it was the one people needed to see reviewed. So on February 18, 2024, MKBHD uploaded his review of the Fisker Ocean, bluntly titled, "This is the worst car I've ever reviewed," leaving little room for interpretation.
And I was trying to think if maybe there's a superlative to explain it, like, oh, this is the weirdest car I've ever tried, or this is the quirkiest car that I've used so far, but I think it's just the worst car.
Just like in his other reviews, MKBHD started by covering the positives, such as the sleek exterior design.
The fundamentals are actually fine. Like, I actually think it's a pretty handsome trim, a pretty good looking car.
He then moved on to what was missing or clearly problematic, beginning with design choices like the awkward sun visor and the unusually small mirror.
But they did this weird thing with these sun visors where they're like half sun visors and they're folded out by default instead of in, but that also means this mirror here is pretty small. Not sure I've seen a smaller mirror on a sun visor.
The lack of usable storage areas that were clearly meant for storage.
They have this little armrest in the middle here, and they actually use a lot of the space with this little tray. It's like a little airplane tray where you can unfold it. It does take up a good amount, maybe half of that storage in there, so that's maybe should be an option or a choice you get to make.
And the placement of sensitive buttons on the steering wheel, exactly where drivers naturally rest their hands.
Like I said, there's buttons on the steering wheel for your ADAS stuff, your forward and backward songs and phone calls and volume and media control. When you're gripping the steering wheel here, unfortunately, these outside two buttons are extremely easy to press by accident because they're these big physical touch areas. But this one will literally restart the song you're playing. That's kind of annoying.
Marquez then pointed out issues with features that were supposed to be basic for electric vehicles by now, starting with the solar panels.
I have no way of knowing what's going on with the solar panels in this car.
Then the Bluetooth speakers.
The first time I drove this car home, I tried to pair my phone and I just constantly got Bluetooth pairing failed issue over and over and over again. It would try to pair, and it would just show the issue on repeat over and over, so I just gave up. I just drove home in silence. And then 5 minutes later, it just cuts out, and the Bluetooth has disconnected again. And then it connects again, and then it disconnects again, and it's swapping my media back and forth between my phone and the car speaker.
The absence of a brake hold, which is ironic for an electric vehicle.
You pull up to a hill, it will literally start rolling backwards if you take your foot off the brakes. It doesn't have brake hold. I found that insane.
And the unreliable 360-degree camera system.
This 360 view, the surround view that's supposed to work anytime you put the car in reverse, this has failed on me many, many times. So it's kind of annoying that I can't quite depend on the rear view camera turning on every time I reverse.
While these issues might seem minor on their own, problems that technically still allow the Fisker Ocean to drive, Marquez pointed out a series of constant annoyances that made the overall driving experience frustrating. These included the screen behind the steering wheel flashing.
The whole screen flashes between red and blue, which can be pretty distracting, especially at night.
Driver assistance systems failing.
The driver assistance systems fail on me several times. I've had the driver attention thing beep at me many times before.
Error messages when starting the car.
And first of all, I don't think I've started this car one time and not gotten some error on this screen behind me, whether it's just one of the steering systems or the braking systems or the cameras failing or the ADAS system not starting up.
Errors that appeared before you could unlock the car from park mode.
The car, after it's been sitting for a while, nothing happens. It doesn't automatically unlock, it doesn't wake up, nothing happens. I press unlock. Sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 times for it to actually wake up and unlock the car.
And even errors triggered simply by rolling down the windows.
And on the top of the steering wheel, or if you press and hold it, it will do the California mode thing. At least it's supposed to. That's what that button's supposed to do. Do I have to hold it for like 5, 6 seconds? Just doesn't seem to work on mine.
On top of all that, while the Fisker Ocean tried to be innovative and different, it strangely overlooked one of the most basic features in any car, a glove box.
There is no glove box. There's just another tray. What? There's no glove box.
Leaving viewers confused as to why there simply wasn't one at all. Marquez also pointed out one particularly strange feature of the Fisker Ocean.
If you go into the settings here, and you go to driving, there is a launch mode called boost, and there's a 500 boost limit for the lifetime of the car. So I think they're trying to sort of maintain the drivetrain and not be too taxing on the motors and the battery and all that, but that is another weird thing that I've never seen in a car before, a literal digital limit to how many times you could do launch control.
And fans found this especially odd, questioning what would happen once all the boosts were used up. With most of the problems rooted in the software, the very backbone of electric vehicles, MKBHD ultimately summed up the Fisker Ocean as the worst car he's ever reviewed.
It just feels like the buggiest car I've ever tried.
And apparently, he wasn't the only one who felt that way. I sent an email to Fisker back in July when I filmed this car. I told them a list of things that needed to be fixed because the car I filmed was apparently pre-production. Sad that none of them were addressed. This comment suggested that Fisker either didn't listen to feedback or worse, didn't properly test the vehicle before selling it. For many viewers, the Fisker Ocean became a classic example of a car designed on a computer and never properly prototyped to uncover real human interaction flaws. And realizations didn't stop there. MKBHD's review also opened viewers' eyes to a larger issue. The fact that multiple car companies are selling cars that need major software updates post-launch is crazy to me. Why can't companies just finish a product before they start selling it? With over 6.7 million views, MKBHD's Fisker Ocean review became one of the most watched videos on his autofocus channel, even surpassing the Tesla Cybertruck review. The video quickly spread beyond YouTube, making headlines across multiple websites and media outlets, making it impossible to ignore. Then, Fisker filed for bankruptcy. In 2024, just 1 month after MKBHD uploaded his review, Fisker announced that it was in deep financial trouble and did not have the necessary funds to remain in business through the coming year. Following this announcement, Fisker's stock suffered an 80% decline, falling from $1.60 to just 32 cents per share, placing the company in even greater financial danger. Because of this, Fisker stopped making cars for 6 weeks and was forced to issue 2 recalls that affected more than 11,000 vehicles in North America and Europe. While trying to get emergency loans and make deals with other car companies, Fisker's problems quickly grew. In April 2024, its stock was removed from the New York Stock Exchange, and by June 2024, Fisker had no other choice but to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is a legal process that allows a struggling company to rearrange its debts and try to stay open instead of shutting down right away. Looking at what happened after MKBHD's video, Fisker's collapse seemed to happen very fast and may look like it was caused directly by the review, especially since Fisker Ocean is the only product the company has ever launched and sold, meaning there was nothing else to protect the company from bad reviews. However, even before MKBHD, there were already clear signs that the company was in trouble. In 2023, Fisker reported losses of $463 million, a devastating hit for a startup car company. Even earlier, beginning in 2021, Fisker's stock had already been declining from a peak of $28.50 per share, or almost $8 billion, to below $2 before MKBHD released his review. And it wasn't just the financials. Fisker also had serious problems with how the company was run. Former employees later revealed that the company frequently lost track of payments, took months to complete internal audits, and set up a customer service that relied on a digital chatbot instead of a proper call center, which made it hard for customers to get help with their cars. Despite marketing itself as a sustainability-focused automaker, Fisker also reportedly lacked a supplier quality team to oversee the parts going into its cars. In fact, at one of their events in 2023, Fisker staff reportedly had to fix broken parts on at least 4 electric cars that were about to be delivered. They even took parts from the CEO and CFO's own cars to repair things like door handles and seat sensors, showing how big Fisker's supply problems were. Finally, while MKBHD's review was the most visible, it wasn't the first red flag. By that time, more than 100 reports of power loss in the Fisker Ocean had already been made in the US, leading to 3 investigations and several recalls. There were also other videos on YouTube that gave bad reviews of the Fisker Ocean, and many of them pointed out the same problems that MKBHD talked about. And if we look even further back in time, we can see that while Fisker Inc. was a new company, the people running it were not new to failure. Henrik Fisker had already been through this more than once. His previous car company, called Fisker Automotive, also ended in bankruptcy. At that time, Fisker Automotive also only made one car, the Fisker Karma. Then the company stopped after selling selling about 2,000 vehicles when its battery supplier went bankrupt. Because of this, Henrik Fisker's problems in running a car company were already there long before MKBHD's review. In other words, MKBHD didn't single-handedly cause Fisker's downfall. He simply sped it up while the company was already headed in that direction. It wasn't the review at all, as MKBHD put it.
Do bad reviews kill companies, or do bad products kill companies?
And many viewers agreed. Without bad reviews, bad products just live longer and disappoint more people than they should. A bad product hurts my pocket. An honest review hurts the company that wants to hurt my pocket. And despite having already shared his thoughts on the Fisker Ocean, never reviewing a product twice, MKBHD decided to give it one more chance.
It didn't in the car I reviewed, but now on this car, if I hold it long enough, it does. It does actually open the front windows, the back windows.
In April 2024, while facing serious financial problems and on the edge of bankruptcy, Fisker personally reached out to MKBHD and invited him to test the Ocean with its updated software, which seemed like they were trying to turn things around.
Okay, so it's a little different. I've never reviewed a car twice before. And so this, what I have here behind me, is a Fisker Ocean with the newest 2.0 software.
In this follow-up, Marquez acknowledged some improvements, particularly with the solar panels, Bluetooth connectivity, and brake hold.
Bluetooth, one of the few cars I've ever driven where literally just pairing to Bluetooth with my phone had issues, that was fixed. This H here, hill hold, works. Brake hold, thankfully works. This car does not roll around forward and backward on hills.
However, several problems remained. Despite being clearly pointed out in his previous video, and despite the numerous complaints Fisker had likely received, issues such as poor key fob responsiveness, distracting blinking lights behind the steering wheel, and the now infamous lack of a glove box were still unresolved.
Key fob, not fixed. Front screen in front of the driver turning completely red or completely blue based on acceleration or deceleration is also unchanged. It still flashes back and forth between red and blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds to rotate the UI and be usable again, and there's still just more delay than I would expect.
In fact, the upgraded version introduced a new issue. The car now took nearly a full minute just to boot up.
The car takes a long time to boot up. This big vertical screen in the middle, you can just watch a boot animation for it feels like a solid 60 seconds while the car turns on.
Which isn't very helpful, especially if you're already running late for work. As a result, even after upgrading to version 2.0, Marquez maintains that the Fisker Ocean is still not a good car.
Sort of thinking at the end here are, number one, is it still the worst car I've ever reviewed? Honestly, if you look back at my channel now, at what I've been able to review, yes, it is still the worst car I've ever reviewed. I've been able to experience real change, which I'm happy about, but I still don't feel like I am able to recommend this version of this car.
So, hoping for a better review from MKBHD and a chance to boost their stock, Fisker instead failed to turn things around. Now, as the bankruptcy became final, the company had no choice but to massively devalue its remaining Fisker Oceans from $75,000 down to just $14,000 each and sell them off to a New York-based leasing company called American Lease, which now leases them mainly to rideshare drivers of Uber and Lyft in New York City. That explains why, despite the company being bankrupt, Fisker Oceans can still be seen all over New York. And as a part of the agreement, Fisker is required to hand over its intellectual property so that these rideshare vehicles can continue receiving software updates. But as for individual Fisker Ocean owners, it's a different story. With no company like American Lease left to provide factory support, software updates, or repairs, they have formed an association where members are pooling resources to buy parts, share diagnostic tools, and even explore open source software patches to replace lost over-the-air updates. Basically, Fisker Ocean owners are pushing back to keep their vehicles functional beyond Fisker's bankruptcy. In fact, they've taken it a step further and have started to advocate for new rules that would make car companies save money for software support or share important software codes with the public if a company shuts down. As for Henrik Fisker himself, he He is reportedly starting a sixth company, Glogi Foods LLC, marking a shift away from cars and into the food business. And as for MKBHD, he continues to review tech products, staying true to his method of using products first, explaining the pros and cons of each feature, and keeping his reputation as a trusted tech reviewer. In fact, right after the Fisker incident, MKBHD was once again connected to the downfall of another tech startup, Humane Inc., after calling its AI pin the worst product he had ever reviewed.
So this is the Humane AI pin. It is a brand new product. Unfortunately, it's also the new worst product I think I've ever reviewed.
The Humane AI pin was designed to answer questions by simply just talking to it, but according to MKBHD, it often took too long to respond or gave wrong answers.
What's the traffic to the Empire State Building from here?
Finding directions. Use the voice command feature of AI Pin to ask for traffic information to the Empire State Building, and it will provide you with the details you need.
I did?
Just like Fisker, after MKBHD's review, the startup behind the AI pin shut down. Although it didn't file for bankruptcy, Humane ended up selling itself to HP for $116 million. Because of this, some people once again blamed MKBHD, saying he bankrupted a company in 41 seconds. Others called his review distasteful, unethical, and careless, but MKBHD supporters defended him, saying, "Nascent project, it's been going on for 5 years and they had unlimited money. Usually, you are on the side of the solo entrepreneur and not the ridiculously overfunded, underperforming VC-backed startup." True, the people behind Human Inc. were far from struggling. They were a couple who had previously worked at Apple, and they had also secured a huge $230 million in startup funding from investors like Microsoft and OpenAI, showing MKBHD could take down big companies. And what was really happening outside their review shows that there were other factors at play. Many flaws were already known inside the company way before the AI pin was released. Employees had raised concerns about whether it would work properly, even during the development phase, and one senior software engineer was even fired for asking if the device would be ready for launch. The company called this talking negatively about Humane, showing just like Fisker, the company did not listen to feedback. Because the product wasn't properly tested before selling, many people ended up returning their AI pins after experiencing the same problems MKBHD pointed out. Once again, this comes back to the same point: bad review versus bad product. Yes, MKBHD's reviews made an impact, and the collapse of both Humane Inc. and Fisker Inc. shows just how much power YouTubers can hold. But out of all the thousands of videos MKBHD has uploaded across his channels, these two were the only ones with truly harsh reviews, which really says more about the kind of products they were rather than the reviews themselves. Now, there's a lesson here for both companies and consumers. If you like this video, you'll probably enjoy these next ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.